Halloween Havoc 1991 featured some solid matchups. Dustin Rhodes versus Stunning Steve Austin for the TV title, Lex Luger versus Ron Simmons in a 2 out of 3 falls world title match, but everything that happened on that show gets overshadowed by the Chamber of Horrors match, a Dusty Rhodes creation. Many people would consider this one of the absolute worst matches of all time, making no sense from an in-ring perspective and doing a fine job of making professional wrestling look as goofy as humanly possible. But because of these traits and how bad it is, you simply can't stop watching it. It's the proverbial train wreck, the absolute mess that you can't take your eyes off. A match so bad that you really wonder what was going through the heads of those in charge. So let's check out another WCW mess as we take a deep dive into the Chamber of Horrors match at Halloween Havoc 1991. I have a video sponsor today. You may have heard of this one. It's Raid Shadow Legends. Remember to use my links in the video description to download Raid yourself on mobile phone and PC. I'm sure you've heard of Raid Shadow Legends and you already know it's got a ton of champions, well over 600. In Raid Shadow Legends, the bad guys are the orcs. The orcs really aren't all that bad though, they're just trying to survive after going to war with the Bannerlords, the High Elves and the Sacred Order. Queen Eva of the Elves would end up lending a helping hand with a hot tag, and so the orcs joined her cause. But the orcs aren't totally aware of her true motivations. Where does this story go and how will it end? Play the campaign mode to find out. What I like about Raid though is the battle system. I much prefer turn-based combat, and Raid features just that. It's easy to learn but also strategic. There's also a ton of options to make battles more suitable to you. If you want to speed up fights for example, go right ahead. Campaign battles also include challenges. The better you perform, the more stars you earn. The more stars you earn, the better the rewards. So there's good replay value here for those who enjoy single player experiences. This month, Raid just released a huge new Doom Tower update featuring 2 new bosses to take on, Astronix the Dark Fae and Bommel the Dreadhorn. New events and tournaments will also be available, including a very special event that has a brand new feature, Super Raids. So here's the deal, if you want to get a further head start on Raid, check out the link in the video description or scan my QR code. You'll get Epic Hero Shinoru, who's amazing in the Doom Tower by the way, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon a champion right away. All your treasure will be waiting for you right here in the inbox. And once you're in, you can find me in the game, just look up Wrestling Bios 1. A big thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video, and I'll see you all in the game. WCW announced they would be holding a Chamber of Horrors match in mid-September of 1991, over 1 month before Halloween Havoc took place. On the 14th of September episode of Saturday Night, Gordon Solie said Halloween Havoc would feature an 8-man cage match, but this isn't no ordinary cage, it's a cage of horrors. Having absolutely no clue what this match was or who was going to be involved, fans were told to tune in to Saturday Night next week to get the scoop. Fans who watched Saturday Night the next week ended up none the wiser as WCW decided to air the exact same Control Center bit they aired the previous week. Brilliant. The following week though, we did get some new information. Solie said the 2 teams inside Chamber of Horrors have been decided. On one side we'll have Gigante, Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner and the man called Sting. Their opponents? Oz, the one-man gang, the Diamond Stud, and Barry Windham. There would be changes made here of course, but this is how the match was first promoted. We then get a look at the match rules. 2 teams of 4 men, meaning a total of 8 men will be inside the Chamber of Horrors. Instruments of torture can be used to prevent opponents from leaving the ring. I wonder what those instruments could be. To win the match, a team must escape and prevent other teams from escaping before the time limit expires. So all you gotta do is leave the cage. Sounds simple enough. When the time limit expires, any remaining individuals will have to face the consequences of the Chamber of Horrors. You know what? This doesn't sound awful when you read the match rules here. It has just enough mystery to pique your curiosity, especially that part about facing the consequences. The following week, Solie announced that Adbullah the Butcher would replace one-man Gang on the heel side. It's been reported that Gang was fired by Jim Herd because he refused to lose a match to PN News. Oz and Barry Windham would also get replaced. It was weird that Barry Windham was even promoted as being part of the heel group to begin with, but Windham was attacked by Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko at the beginning of the show, suffering a kayfabe broken arm. Oz, for some reason, was taken out of the match and put into a singles match later in the evening, where he lost in under 5 minutes, so yeah. There's a lot of changes made to this match. It's a mess before it even gets in the ring. Oz and Barry Windham ended up getting replaced by Cactus Jack and Vader. Jack and Sting were feuding at the time, and Jack was also teaming with Adbullah the Butcher, so that made sense. And Big Van Vader was having a comeback match here at Halloween Havoc after an 8-month absence. You'd assume that Vader's availability was maybe in question, and that's why he was added to the match very late, but who knows, and really who cares? There was no one who could save this match, and there was nothing anyone could do to save this match, even someone as good as Big Van Vader. Okay, so we got roped in with Gordon Solie promoting this mysterious match on WCW programming. What are these horrors and what were these consequences waiting inside the steel cage? Well, here's what our ring announcer says before the match, word for word. This special attraction will involve 2 teams, each team consisting of 4 team members. The match will be confined in the Chamber of Horrors, which is equipped with several instruments of torture. The object of the match is to put a member of the opposing team in the Chamber of Horrors chair of torture and then pull the fatal lever, which will render one of the teammates helpless. Okay, so they completely fucking changed the original rules. Mr. Solie told us that you had to escape the cage, and if the time limit expired, anyone still inside would have to face the consequences. So not only has the heel team completely changed with the exception of the Diamond Stud, but the rules of the match have also been completely altered. You gotta get your opponents to sit in a chair and then pull a lever. What happens when the lever gets pulled? Who knows? At this point it could be absolutely anything, seeing as practically everything about this match has already been changed. The chamber match is also the very first bout on the pay-per-view. I'm guessing this was based on logistics, and to be honest, it didn't belong in the main event at all. Luger vs Simmons had a good build, and that match definitely belonged in the last spot. Let's do it then. Let's take a close look at this whole thing from start to end, and we'll see where it all went wrong. Sting, Cactus Jack, Adbullah and Rick Steiner fight on the rampway before getting into the ring, and take a look at how the whole cage moves when Jack gets whipped into it. From what we can see here, there's a few coffins set up in the ring too, so I wonder what's in those. Cactus Jack came to the ring with a chainsaw, but it's Rick Steiner who goes to use it as a weapon. The chainsaw won't start, so Rick casually puts it back down as all men enter the cage. Scotty Steiner has been fighting with the Diamond Stud while Vader and Gigante have been going at it too, but as soon as Sting gets inside the ropes, he begins beating everyone with a kendo stick. Every heel takes a shot. Jim Ross then says at some point in the match, a chair will get lowered into the ring, so that's going to happen completely at random it seems. Scotty Steiner breaks open a casket and some dude with a mask falls out. Wasn't expecting that. Who is this guy and what exactly is his purpose? Is he an instrument of torture? Who knows. Scotty Steiner destroys the poor guy. Nick Patrick looks like he's wearing a protective helmet, but that's the WCW patented refer-eye camera. The refer-eye camera. Getting you closer to the action than any VR experience could ever dream of. The match is already broken down into a complete mess, and there's a real lack of focus in terms of the home viewing experience. Sting and Vader get in the middle of the ring for a while, and the crowd pops when Sting sends his opponent over the top rope. We then see Gigante trying to pull the Diamond Stud down from the cage, but have a look on the other side. Rick Steiner climbs up for absolutely no reason. He has a little look around and then he climbs back down. No idea what he was trying to do here. Sting performs a plancha to the outside that again gets a great reaction. And back inside the ring, the referee cam begins to malfunction as Cactus Jack gets set up for a Steiner Bulldog. And just as Foley takes the move, the chair begins to lower. The chair is inside another cage, and Foley almost gets crushed as it descends into the ring. You can see the Steiners and Adbullah telling Jack to move out of the way. Just look at this. 8 men inside a cage already means there's limited space, But you've got Gigante, Adbullah the Butcher and Vader in there. You've got coffins loaded up with random people. You've got a chair inside another cage taking up even more real estate. It's perplexing why anyone thought this was a good idea. And I know some people will say out there that they actually really like this, and apologies to those people. But this is an absolute clusterfuck of epic proportions. Somehow though, it gets even worse. Vader puts Rick Steiner in what's supposed to be an electric chair, and Jim Ross says the lever must be pulled to end the match. Look over at the control box and you'll see the lever is in the down position, meaning it's already been pulled. Fantastic. Rick gets out and he hits a Steiner line on Vader, sending the big man to the outside. Meanwhile, Sting launches a coffin lid in the air and it smacks Foley on the head. Something about this just really makes me laugh, and I watched it multiple times. A bunch of guys wearing white then walk down to the ramp. Tony Schiavone says they're the ghouls, and these guys must be waiting to carry the loser away from the ring after the electric chair spot. We then go back to the referee camera, and we see the Diamond Stud has been led out on the outside by Sting, and one of the little random dudes attacks Stud. Sting is just standing there wondering what's going on. We look on as Gigante tries to pull Adbullah the Butcher down from the cage, but then Scotty Steiner runs into frame and he breaks a stick over Mick Foley's head. Foley has been busted open big time, by the way. Gigante decides to just walk away from Adbullah, and instead he begins fighting with Vader. Sting and Cactus Jack climb up the side of the cage and Sting gets the better of his opponent, but there's no big bump here. Jack just makes his way back down and Sting has to follow him. The casket guy has been handcuffed to the cage to stop interference, and I think those cuffs may have been better used on one of the 8 competitors, but sure. Scott Steiner chokes Adbullah with a chain as Sting launches Cactus over the top rope. We go back to Nick Patrick's 4K camera and we see another creep has broken out of a casket and he's stalking Cactus. Most online match reports state that there's only one guy wearing a mask in the ring, but there's definitely 2. We see the other one handcuffed in the same shot. Diamond Stud tries to put Sting in the chair, but he's saved by Scott Steiner. We then get another shot of the lever, and you can clearly see that it isn't in the off position. Jim Ross fumbles around trying to cover up this pretty hilarious mishap.
There it is, right there. When that lever is a flip of assuming that's what it's going to happen to them when they get in that chair.
JR legitimately apologizes next when he says this match is too difficult to call. There's just too much going on. Adbullah the Butcher is now busted open, but that shouldn't surprise anyone. Gigante looks like he's just wrestled Shawn Michaels in an Iron Man match as he walks around looking for someone to beat up. And Adbullah smothers the Stinger at the side of the cage as the crowd watches on pretty much in silence. The ghouls are still on the rampway waiting for someone to get fried. And look here, it's Brian Clark, maybe better known as Adam Bomb, reconsidering his career choices. While all this is going on, the referee on the outside has been repeatedly putting the lever back in the upward position, but it keeps falling down. Cactus Jack doesn't know what to do and he asks the referee for advice, and it looks like he's told to just put it back up and pretend nothing's wrong. It gets to the point where the referee climbs up and he has to hold the lever in place himself. He leaves for a moment, but then the lever falls back down. And I swear to God, the referee versus the lever is more fun than what's going on inside the ring. The match comes to a merciful end when Cactus climbs up to throw the lever while Adbullah puts Rick in the chair. Rick counters with a belly to belly. He frantically tries to strap Adbullah in as quick as possible, but it takes a pretty long time. Foley can do nothing but pretend not to look and play along with this complete mess. Adbullah gets strapped in and oblivious Cactus Jack pulls the lever and... well, at least there was explosions, so give them that. The babyfaces are announced as the winners of the Chamber of Horrors match, and Adbullah has bit the dust. Is that what they're going for here? Is he dead? Of course not. Adbullah wakes up and he chases Cactus Jack. And look at this. This poor guy right here, who was only trying to set the rampway back up, gets kicked by Adbullah the Butcher. No joking, that's pretty uncalled for. Adbullah attacks the ghouls and he falls over while doing so, and he ends up leaving with Cactus Jack, so Have their problems been resolved, or I don't know. The look on Tony Schiavone's face says it all. This is a man who knows all too well that the WCW audience just sat through an absolute stinker of a match. Speaking on the match and doing his best not to bury it, Eric Bischoff said, "It was one of the more interesting things I'd seen to that point. This was way over the top to me. I'd never seen anything like it, and I'd never heard of anything like it. It was a Dusty Rhodes thing. Dusty was really excited about it. I was just beginning to get to know Dusty. Say what you want about Dusty, but he came up with a lot of finishes and a lot of ideas that were controversial at the time. The ideas maybe didn't get a lot of support. One of the things I realised in a guy like Dusty is that you're going to come up with ideas that are out of the box, they're big, they're crazy, and on the surface people are going to go, oh my god. Some of them are going to work and some of them aren't. In my opinion, this was one of those out of the box, way over the top ideas that Dusty had a vision for, and I have a hard time saying it was a great success or even a moderate success, but it was definitely unique. The Chamber of Horrors was a one and done deal. The match type never returned to WCW programming, and that's maybe a good thing. It's an awful match, no doubt, but it's the funny kind of awful. You can still watch it and laugh, and so maybe there is some sort of value with WCW's Chamber of Horrors, but don't go into it expecting a good wrestling cage match. It's chaotic and not in the good way. The thing is though, everyone remembers this one. The Chamber of Horrors comes to mind for a lot of people when they think of classic Halloween Havoc shows, so it does have its place in WCW history, for better or for worse. Consider this too, with all the recent match types happening in pro wrestling, it isn't really all that far-fetched to say the Chamber of Horrors might make a return one day to the WWE. It would obviously get tweaked, and I'd say the electric chair would have to get replaced with something else. But when you think of all the other ridiculous match types the WWE have presented over the past few years, the Chamber of Horrors match really doesn't sound all that silly. I don't think it will happen, by the way. I'm just saying it's in the realm of possibility, knowing the WWE. If it were up to me though, I'd change it to a normal 2-on-2 tag team match. 8 men inside the ring is too much when you add in the second cage, the objects around the ring and whatever surprises lurk inside. Not only was there very little space for the guys to work with, but there's a lack of focus. Camera cuts are too plentiful and you never really see what's going on, so that would need to change. We're coming up to the 20th anniversary of the Chamber of Horrors match though. If there was ever a time to do it again, now would be that time. I'm just not really sure if I want to see it again. Actually, I know I don't want to see it again. Dusty Rhodes had some good ideas for sure, but he had some insane ones too. This falls into the insane category. Let me know your thoughts on the Chamber of Horrors match. Researching public opinion on this is quite interesting considering there were actually a few people who want to see this happen again, and I don't think these people are trying to be ironic either. The vast majority of people think it was awful, and gonna be honest, I do too. There's some huge names involved in the match for sure, but overall, WCW missed the target here and they end up giving us pure comedy instead of an intimidating cage match. If you're one of the ones who enjoyed this thing, do let me know in the comments and let me know what you liked about it. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this one and take care.